How's it going, everybody? My name is Dalton. Welcome back to another episode of Garage 99. In today's video, we have a Range Rover Sport Autobiography. I've never actually heard of that specific one, but I can imagine it has something to do with why it's so beautifully designed in here. This vehicle has been provided to us today by Monicatti Auto Sales. We're located at 94 New Haven Road up in New Baltimore area. This vehicle is for sale and available right now, so if you want it, go ahead and check out the links in the description below. Oh, this might be more fun than I thought. Let's get this thing on the road. The little shifter on it is something to get used to. You have to pull a little button in the back of it. It's kind of like the BMW typical European thing. Wow, this is a beautiful... Okay, so right off the bat, this thing feels like an absolute Cadillac. It rides so wonderfully. I just love the way that everything looks in front of me. This is a really nice car. I believe this is like a 2017. So it is still pretty new, but it looks brand new. The entire dashboard is 100% LED. There's no gauges or anything, and it's got a matching center console that is very well designed and also is beautiful to look at. It's a super widescreen LED dash, both the gauge cluster and the center console stack. You've got very nice simple gauges all around. You've got carbon fiber, you've got red leather, you've got black leather. Everything is just very well detailed and very well put together. This thing rides so smooth. Let's see, we got a couple buttons in the center stacks. So it's pretty comfy in here. You do sit up a little higher because this is a pretty full-size SUV. Viewing in here is not too bad. I can pretty much see anywhere at any corner. You do have this beautiful, gigantic panoramic sunroof. It opens up all the way. Good sized leather steering wheel. You actually have, even though there is a center console, in this vehicle you do have an inside armrest on the driver and the passenger side, which definitely makes it more comfortable. I would say this seat is probably pretty adjustable, along with not knowing how to use it, because that's pretty much how I do everything. There's like multiple different pieces of the seat cushion every time I change something. I'm never going to know how to recline. I just want to recline. So we're not going to try and recline. I'm just going to be comfortable like this. The steering wheel does have paddle shifters. That is something you don't see in many SUVs. So let's talk about some of the specs of this vehicle. It does get about 14 city and 19 highway miles per gallon. It does have a 5-liter supercharged V8. That's nothing to be surprised about. It only weighs about 5,000 pounds though. You'd think with a vehicle this big it might weigh more, but I mean that's kind of impressive. 5,000 is nothing to be worried about. It's not like a small SUV or a big truck. It's kind of in the middle. And it does have a 24-gallon tank, so I mean that mileage isn't going to hurt you too much if you're being conscious on like a road trip or something. What I will tell you though is the ground clearance. So the big thing about Range Rovers is, and people don't really realize this, is they are a luxury off-road oriented company. Everything they have is an SUV, and everything that they have is built for off-road. There's lots of different options. Even down here, because this is a vehicle that's offered in different countries, what a lot of companies will do is they don't tell you this is grass mode, this is ice mode, this is sand mode, this is dirt. They'll show you a picture of the terrain, so that way they don't have to translate it for every different company. They don't have to reproduce it and create different buttons for each individual company, which that's really cool. So down here, you can see there's a slippery mode, a normal driving mode, a winter mode, a forest mode, a desert mode with hills, a rocky mode, and a low mode with pictures of mountains. You do have all of those options. There also is a sport mode, but we are not going to try that until we come to a stop here, because I'd like to get the idea of what it sounds like driving around at lower speeds with this. And this thing, it still has the leather smell in here too. There's so much leather and these seats are so comfortable. This thing is a very wonderful driving experience. So smooth, super quiet. I haven't heard a thing outside of this car. So, oh, it's got the auto off, but we're gonna put it in sport. Man, would you listen to that thing? I can't believe they put a 5-liter supercharged V8 in this vehicle. Most companies don't do that kind of stuff anymore. In the back seats, while we're sitting here at this light, you can see this one probably, that it is basically a replicated version of the front seat. You have an entire center console, you have 2 captain's chairs, and they look just as comfortable as the front. They look the exact same. They're pretty nice. You do have a ton of options for your climate controls and everything up front over here. And it looks like you have just as many options back there as you do up here, which makes it a more comfortable, enjoyable experience. Ooh, okay, this thing's got some power behind it. This is gonna be interesting. All right, we're gonna jump back here on the freeway and head back. Should we use paddles? I think we should use paddles. Command shift selected. Okay, so far it seems like it has a good amount of power for a vehicle that weighs this much. I wouldn't say it's like sports car level. It's pretty close though. It's a quick vehicle. Okay, I take that back. It's fast. I take it back. I take it all back. Yeah, it's pretty quick. So we're gonna take it out of sport mode, just normal driving. Yeah, that's reasonable. I don't think you need more than that in a vehicle like this. I think this thing is priced right. You know, I always get into a vehicle and I assume, why is a vehicle like that so much money? I just don't understand it. And then once I start driving it, I'm like, okay, I understand why this vehicle is priced the way it is, why companies charge this much for this vehicle. It's the quality of everything they put into it. It's the driving experience. Nothing against the cheaper mass production cars where you can see where corners were cut or they just didn't put enough effort into the vehicle. Where this, there's no place that you can find that has had a corner cut where they wanted, oh, we'll put this here because it's cheaper. No, nothing in here is cheap. Everything looks very, very high quality, very expensive. I think they did a really good job putting Range Rovers together. Let's see what that acceleration's like one more time. Size that moves that quickly. Almost unnatural, really. There's something about this rearview mirror I really like, and I don't know why I'm mentioning this, but it does not have a bezel around it. It's like an edgeless mirror, and it looks really clean, and I kind of like it a lot. You know, I don't know why I keep looking at it, and I'm like, wow, that's really nice looking. The whole sound system in here, which it looks like there's got to be at least a couple dozen speakers. There's like half a dozen just in the front row. All Meridian. I think that's a pretty good quality speaker brand, but I may be wrong. We're going to go ahead and stop over here at the park, and I'm going to give you guys an exhaust clip, and then I'm going to show you more inside the vehicle. So there is a lot to be seen in here. Alright, so here is the inside of the Range Rover. Now, like I was saying before, you do get these two wide LED screens. There's no actual gauges, and this is your beautiful center control stack right here. You've got all these actual buttons, but there's like digital screens inside of those buttons that actually show you what's going on. Like, I have it turned off currently because it's really warm in here. Yeah, there's a lot of buttons. I'm not going to go into too many of these. What I can tell you is so here's your Meridian sound system. You got your tweeter, your mid, and your sub, or the bass right there. You've got 3-person memory seats. You got these beautiful red and black seats with this giant, awesome panoramic sunroof. You have a power sunshade that closes the whole thing. That's pretty interesting. Your center console, you've got a couple HDMI ports in there. You've got your electronic parking brake here. This is how you put it into parks. To take this out of park, there's a button on the back of it. You have to press it for every gear that you want to go into. Like, there's reverse. If you don't touch it, you want to go to neutral, you flick it back. But to go into drive, you got to press the button and bring it back again. And then you also have sport mode, which is pretty nice. And then you get an S inside of that tack, just below the word Supercharged, which is pretty cool. You also have your paddles mounted onto the steering wheel if you want to use those instead. Back into park. It's cool. You can basically go into park from any gear you like. And then down here you have that mode I was talking about earlier, like the slippery, downhill grade, low for mountain climbing. You have rock mode, desert mode, forest mode, I would imagine snow mode. It changes the gauges a little bit every time I change the mode, and actually it also is changing the way that the differentials were locking and unlocking, because this is a Range Rover. They do have a bunch of those options to change the way it locks. It also has your automatic off if you don't like your vehicle turning off at a stoplight every time. Traction control off. Rev limiter gauge to probably optimize your fuel mileage and consumption. With all this stuff here, you do have this compartment that closes up, makes it look nice and clean in here if you don't have a beverage or you'd like not to use the cup holders. And let's check out the storage space, because something tells me it's pretty good size in this vehicle. There's a button in the middle here, you just go ahead and press it. And there's tons of storage space back here. You obviously have your privacy divider if you don't want people looking inside there, seeing what you got. Very cool. You got a couple more speakers back here. And it's very clean, actually. They have like lots of plastic covering the surrounding of the tailgate, so you don't have to see all the bare metal, which is really cool. I'm gonna go ahead and close that back up. Get a nice look at what it looks like from back here. You got the Sport with the Autobiography badge on there. You've got these beautiful large wheels, huge brakes and tires wrapped in Continentals. You've got this red color, and there's actually lots of little Easter eggs. Like you got this one right here in between the door jambs. Back seats, just as luxurious. You get the same seats. You get pretty much all the same stuff. You got a little center console cubby here. This thing, I believe, does fold up if you would like a third seat. And then you've got all this over here. You've got heated seats back here, auto climate control back here. You got all of those beautiful controls. And me sitting behind myself, I actually have plenty of room. I mean, I have a ridiculous amount of headroom and plenty of leg room from the person in front of me. I'm 6'2" and I fit in here this well, if that gives you a good idea of how much room's in here. And there's still plenty of storage room in the back, so. This is a very well sorted out vehicle. I cannot find a single thing I do not like about this vehicle. And I'm pretty nitpicky. I like to find things wrong with vehicles. Oh, this is beautiful. So guys, huge shout out to Monicatti Auto Sales, who's provided us with this vehicle today. They're located in New Baltimore at 94 and New Haven Road. They've been providing us with some pretty cool vehicles. We're very appreciative that they've been giving us this opportunity. But that's going to conclude today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out and keep turning those gears.